I represent people in federal criminal cases and also in state criminal cases. Federal obviously means it's the government that's prosecuting you. State means it's the state of Nevada that's prosecuting you. And my clients have cases that range from white-collar crimes, such as embezzlement from an employer or theft or money laundering, drug crimes, sex crimes, violent crimes, basically any type of criminal offense, including DUI, which is driving under the influence, or domestic violence. I think it's really important, if you are charged with a criminal offense, that you should pick a lawyer who practices exclusively 100% criminal defense. A lot of lawyers out there, they dabble in criminal defense, they practice personal injury, they do bankruptcy, they basically take anything that comes through the door. If you look at me, you'll just see I just do criminal defense. That's all I've ever done. That's what I feel that I'm best at. I've been a prosecutor, I've been an assistant federal public defender. For the last 14 years, all I do is criminal law. I love what I do. This is the greatest job in the world. I come to work every morning and I'm excited thinking about all the clients that I have and future clients that I'm going to get, that I'm going to help. When I'm going up against prosecutors, I'm researching motions, I'm filing motions, I am doing a lot of work in that case because I'm trying to wear down that prosecutor to give my client the best deal possible. I get paid to fight for people, and there's nothing more satisfying than to see a client who comes back to me and says, thank you for helping me in what was the most difficult time in my life. I always tell people, you pay for my head and I throw my heart in for free. One of the most common types of drug crimes is a simple possession of cocaine or possession of some sort of prohibited pill. A lot of times tourists will come into Las Vegas and they get a little crazy and they get caught with a little bit of cocaine. Maybe they're at the pool at one of the hotels and then they're searched by security, and that's where they find the drugs on that person. A lot of people think, oh, there's nothing that can be done, I'm going to get convicted. No, not necessarily, because even though they're charging you with a felony, there's still hope. I tell you, I've gotten so many great deals for clients of mine in this area because I put the time into the case. I litigate every aspect of the case. And we're not allowed to make guarantees, I just have to point out, but every client in my position who's come to me, I've gotten it worked out to where, even though they're charged with a felony and they're caught with that drug, I've gotten it worked out to where it's dismissed at the end if the person does some classes, pays a fine, and stays out of trouble, which means don't have any new arrest. So if you're being prosecuted or investigated for any type of drug crime, whether it's at the federal level or at the state level, remember, I have hundreds of people I've helped in your situation in just drug crimes alone. So call me and I'll show you how I can fight for you. Confidentiality is crucial in any type of attorney-client relationship. A lot of people think the attorney-client privilege only begins when you hire the attorney. That's not the case at all. So anytime you meet with an attorney, like if you come and meet with me, anything you tell me, even before you've hired me, if you choose to hire me, that's totally protected by attorney-client privilege. So I will never repeat anything that you've told me. Anything you've told my legal assistant, that's protected by attorney-client privilege as well, because she works for me. So I always tell people that, don't think that you have to hide something from me when you're first talking with me. Just be as open as possible. I need to know everything so I can help you. Domestic violence, it's a very serious offense. The biggest mistake people make is thinking, oh, it's just a misdemeanor, it's not going to hurt me. Guess again, it's very serious. Not only are you looking at a maximum of 6 months in jail, but you're looking at consequences that you don't have for other offenses. For instance, you lose your right to possess a firearm. If you're not a U.S. citizen, you can get deported. And third, if you have a child custody matter in the future, a family court judge can look at you and say, wow, you've been convicted of domestic violence. I'm going to find that you're not a fit parent. So there are huge consequences involved with domestic violence. So what I'm doing is I'm challenging the domestic violence prosecutions in Nevada, and I'm arguing before the Nevada Supreme Court that you should have the right to a jury trial. You should have that extra protection because it's such a serious offense. If you've been charged with domestic violence or you're being investigated for having committed domestic violence, it's important that you call me right away so we can discuss your options. A lot of people ask, what's a white-collar crime? A white-collar crime is anything involving money or embezzlement, money laundering, bank crimes, anything that's not a violent crime. And a white-collar crime can be somebody who embezzles money from a tip jar, or they're embezzling millions of dollars from a major corporation. I represented people in all facets of life, whether it's a bartender or whether it's a CEO. I've represented people in all kinds of white-collar crimes. It's important for people to understand that a white-collar crime is not looked upon by the judge as, oh, this is just about money, it can be replaced. Lately, I've seen in this economy, judges have been hammering people that have been convicted of certain types of white-collar crimes. With a felony on your record, you can't vote, you can't carry a firearm, you can't run for public office. If you have a misdemeanor theft, which is stealing, that's a crime involving moral turpitude. That looks terrible on your record, because anytime an employer interviews you, they can legally ask, have you been convicted of a felony or a misdemeanor crime involving moral turpitude? That means that they want to know if you've been convicted of stealing, because if you've been convicted of stealing, even a misdemeanor theft, guess what? They're not going to hire you. So whether you've gotten a call from a detective who's saying that he's investigating you or she's investigating you, or you're being investigated by the federal government, or you've already been charged with a crime, whether it's a state white-collar crime or a federal white-collar crime, it's really important to contact me as soon as possible. Call me, come sit down with me, and I'll show you how I can fight for you.